Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Scott's Soldiers. In episode 46, titled Local Toy Soldier Shows, I spoke about getting out of your usual routine and taking advantage of local events to add to your collection. Maybe blow the stink off of you, practice your social skills, run into old friends and make new ones. Well, in this episode, I'm taking you to the Ontario Model Soldier Society's annual show held in Toronto, Ontario, called On Parade. In terms of size, the show this year had, I think, 17 different vendors, both private and retailers. William Britton's was there as part of its 130th anniversary and to unveil its new set of RCMP figures, as was Scott Dummett Presents, and overall, I would think the sales were brisk. Like Chicago, there was a local hotel available for out-of-towners, and it was near enough for visitors from outside the Greater Toronto Area to attend. So let's take a look at what's called Canada's largest toy soldier show.
The venue this year was the Royal Canadian Legion, Branch 643. This is where the OMSS holds its monthly in-person meetings. There is plenty of parking in the immediate area, and the entrance fee was $5. Kids under 12 were free and received a free toy soldier. Sadly, I did not qualify. The Legion sells food and refreshments at very reasonable prices, so you don't have to leave to recharge your energy levels. I would suggest you bring cash, and while some retailers could accept credit cards, cash is king and always works when Wi-Fi gets spotty. You don't want to be caught in an electronic financial bind when you finally find that bucket list figure. One of the things that happens at On Parade is the setting up of the tables the night before. This was the first time for me and allowed me to catch up and meet people I had not seen in a year. I could be wrong, but I think this year the OMSS celebrated its 60th anniversary, and amongst the attendees was Stuart Hesney from Toy Soldier Collector and Historical Figures magazine, and Ken and Erica Osen of Britton's and Hudson and Allen Studios. It's fun to meet these folks, and they are very approachable. And like other attendees you meet, you get to talk about what else? Toy soldiers. The OMSS always has a competition section where members and alike can exhibit their efforts over the year in different categories. Some of these were almost diorama-like in their composition, and it did remind me of Pat Gallagher's dioramas that I saw at the September 2022 Chicago show. If you are curious about this competition, check out the OMSS website and its newsletter page, where I'm sure you can find the results in the July newsletter. I'll stop talking now and let you see the images of the competition entries. As you look at the tables, you get some idea of what was available, or should I say, still available before it was bought up. Even I was forgetting the maxim that if the price is right, snap it up, because someone else behind you will. And there were a few pieces that were gone when I went back to buy afterwards. Oh well. I like this show not only because it is a reasonable size and attracts a good number of private vendors who are looking to unload items, but there is a good chance of finding something unique. And from prior experience, I can usually pick up a Canadian set or fill in a set with a loose figure or two, as many of the vendors are OMSS members, downsizing their holdings or selling off pieces to make room for other additions. There were metal and plastic figures, kits, castings, wargaming, complete sets, and individual pieces. There was also a table selling plinths and wooden stands, and another had paints and scenic materials. While the show is not as big as Chicago or London, it is manageable, and I spent almost 2 solid hours moving from room to room, looking at the tables, talking to vendors and other collectors, and at the same time making some purchases. Now take a quick look at Scott Dummett's tables. Here I'm looking for Pride of the Nation or something shiny to add to my collection. But in the interest of disclosure, I'm also picking up a set, which I'll show you the box top. Yep, Royal Canadian Artillery. But you'll still have to wait a while before I do a video on this. Don't forget that if you couldn't be there, Scott has his website, or you can contact him directly if you're looking for something specific. I'll leave a link to his website and others in the description box. I had to take you over to the William Britton's area and show you its new RCMP figures, number 10101 and 10102, in recognition of the RCMP's 150th anniversary. What's a party without figures to splash some money on? Busted. These figures are a departure from its earlier renditions that lasted until the early 1960s and were, of course, more toy soldier-like. I know there has been some comments of the figure's design, the lack of a white pistol lanyard, and the orientation of the Stetson hat, but I'll take the figure as is. I do think Britton's did a decent job with the face, uniform, and proportions. In case you are interested, the backdrop to the figures on the box top is the RCMP's Training Academy, Depot Division in Regina, Saskatchewan. These figures will be added to my RCMP collection that you saw in episode 7. It seems quite a few makers are coming out this year with Mounties. Crown Prinz, King & Country, and John Jenkins Design. So if you collect them, there's more opportunity than ever to add to your collection. So let's have a look at what else I picked up. You know I have a weak spot for Canada's Fort Henry Guard, and at the show, an OMSS vendor was selling these mint condition box sets by Britton's. So allow me to digress a bit here. As you can see from the boxes, these sets are labeled Canada number 9155 Fort Henry Guard 49th foot and Canada number 9160 Fort Henry Guard 89th foot. What I was told by the seller is that these were a production run from 1962 to 1966, and these never appeared in Britton's catalogs. Why? Because they were a custom order by the then Parks Canada Fort Henry gift shop and sold only there, so they were not available from other retailers or in the catalogs. You could only buy them on site and nowhere else. These figures you are seeing here are standing armadees with bayonets and differ from the set number 1518 line infantry with muskets at attention. It's sort of what they call the Waterloo period. If you have a copy of James Opie's book, Britain's Toy Soldiers, The History and Handbook, 1893 to 2013, and look at pages 180 to 181, or his The Great Book of Britons, pages 305 to 306 and 510 to 511, you'll get some idea of what was going on. This is a Del Prado German U-boat officer, WM018, and this will blend in perfectly with my Kriegsmarine collection from episode 1. It also came with this Osprey pamphlet on the German Kriegsmarine. This is a Brazen Knight number 7, Sir Warren Bassingbourn. There was a vendor who had several Brazen Knights, but I picked this one up because I like the posing and bright colors used. The box is marked Tradition of London, and this may mean that Tradition was the agent for Brazen, or that this was a separate line for the store. Anyway, glad I have it. These next two pieces I picked up in a bargain bin. The first is another knight, maker unknown, and the other one is a Britain's Vickers machine gunner. Here is a casting by Squadron Reuben Miniatures, number 48, of a Northwest Mounted Police officer, 1898. I keep threatening to do a painting video, so maybe this might be the one. I came across these King and Country figures. They were being sold by a collector who was downsizing, and he had the boxes too. The figures are in pristine shape, and the price was right, and they were on my bucket list. They are retired D-Day Canadians. King and Country did not make a lot of these, and you only have to see the run for British and American figures to appreciate how small the Canadian production was. And I'm still 2 items short, but here they are. And lastly, I found this shirt. The OMSS table was selling it, and it fits. So there you go, my big souvenir of my trip to Toronto, Ontario to attend the annual OMSS On Parade Toy Soldier Show. If you didn't get a chance to go to this year's show, hopefully this video will give you a glimpse of what it's like and what was available this time around. I encourage you to attend this and similar events because that's what keeps them happening. They are fun. Everyone likes to talk about what they're selling or buying. And there are experts and pseudo-experts, myself included. They're to guide and advise if you have any questions about the figures or hobby in general. If you like this video, please hit the like or subscribe buttons to help this channel grow. Until next time, keep collecting.